Hey everyone! Today we're going to explore some really cool and puzzling things called paradoxes. They're like brain teasers that make us think about things in new and interesting ways. Let's jump in and check out some of the weirdest paradoxes out there. First up is the liar paradox. Imagine someone tells you they are lying. If they're telling the truth about lying, then they're actually lying, which means they're telling the truth. It just keeps going around in circles. It's a real puzzle that makes us question what truth really means. Next, we have the twin paradox from space travel. If one twin goes on a super fast space trip and the other stays on Earth, the space-traveling twin comes back younger than their brother or sister. It's all because time moves slower the faster you go. Isn't that a wild idea? Then there's Schrodinger's cat. There's a cat in a box with something that might make it go to sleep forever. But until we open the box, we don't know if the cat is awake or asleep. So it's like the cat is both at the same time. This shows us how weird things can get when we're talking about really small particles like atoms. Imagine you're on a game show and you pick one of 3 doors, behind one of which is a prize. The host then shows you what's behind another door, and there's no prize. You get a chance to stick with your door or pick the other closed one. It's actually smarter to switch doors. Your chances to win the prize go up. It's a fun way to learn about making smart guesses. The paradox of thrift happens when everyone tries to save their money instead of spending it. Saving sounds smart, right? But if everyone saves, then no one is buying things and businesses can't make money, which can make everyone poorer. It's like being too careful can sometimes cause trouble. Here's a fun one called the friendship paradox. It's when your friends have more friends than you do on average. Sounds weird, right? But it's all because people who have lots of friends are counted more times as friends by others. This one teaches us about how we see our place in the world. And then there's the potato paradox. Imagine you have 100 pounds of potatoes, which are 99% water. If they dry out a bit and end up 98% water, they suddenly weigh only 50 pounds. It shows how a small change can make a big difference when you're doing the math. Meet the Barber Paradox. In a town, there's a barber who shaves everyone who does not shave themselves. So, the big question is, does the barber shave himself? If he does, according to the rule, he shouldn't shave himself. But if he doesn't shave himself, then he should shave himself. It's a real brain twister about rules and who they apply to. Now let's get snappy with the crocodile paradox. A crocodile snatches a child and promises the parent that the child will be returned if the parent can correctly guess what the crocodile will do next. But what happens if the parent guesses that the child won't be returned? This tricky situation creates a loop that's hard to escape from. Up next is the omnipotence paradox. Can an all-powerful being create a rock so heavy that even they cannot lift it? If they can create such a rock, then there's something they can't do, lift it. But if they can't create it, then there's something they can't do, create it. This paradox makes us think about the limits of power, even ultimate power. Here's the unexpected hanging paradox. A judge tells a prisoner he will be hanged next week, and it will be a surprise. The prisoner thinks, if I haven't been hanged by Thursday, then Friday won't be a surprise, so it can't happen Friday. He uses similar logic for each day and concludes it can't happen at all. But when he's hanged on Wednesday, it's a surprise. How? It challenges our thinking about predictions and surprises. Finally, explore the ship of Theseus paradox. If you replaced every single piece of a ship over time, is it still the same ship? And what if you took all the original pieces and built another ship with them? Which one is the real ship of Theseus? This paradox makes us question what makes something the same thing over time. Let's take aim at the arrow paradox. Imagine an arrow flying toward a target. At any single moment during its flight, the arrow is not moving to where it was or to where it will be. So, if at every single point in time it's motionless, how does it manage to move? This paradox from Zeno of Elea challenges our understanding of motion and time. Next up is the paradox of value, also known as the diamond water paradox. Water is essential for life but cheap, while diamonds are not essential but very expensive. Why is something so necessary value less than something non-essential? This paradox makes us think about how we value goods and resources. Now let's explore the raven paradox. If seeing a black raven can confirm the statement all ravens are black, then seeing a non-black non-raven like a white shoe should also support that statement, since neither is a counterexample. Dive into the information paradox, which involves black holes. According to physics, information about the material that falls into a black hole should be destroyed, but laws of quantum mechanics say information cannot be lost. This paradox challenges our understanding of fundamental physics, pushing scientists to think deeper about the nature of the universe. Check out Buridan's ass paradox. A donkey stands exactly midway between two equally big and delicious piles of hay. Unable to decide which one to go to, it dies of hunger. This paradox illustrates the problem of making a decision when the choices are equal, poking fun at overthinking and indecisiveness. Next, let's explore the Fichte-Church paradox. This philosophical puzzle suggests that if all truths are knowable, then all truths must actually be known. However, if there's a truth nobody knows yet but is eventually knowable, it contradicts the idea that it must already be known. It challenges our understanding of knowledge and what it means to know something. Meet the preface paradox. An author writes a book and in the preface admits that despite their best efforts, some errors might be present. Each statement in the book is well researched and believed to be true, yet the author acknowledges the likelihood of mistakes. This paradox highlights the conflict between believing individual assertions and acknowledging the fallibility of one's overall work. Now consider the paradox of the court. A student promises to pay his teacher after winning his first case as a lawyer. The teacher, impatient, sues the student who hasn't won a case yet. If the teacher wins the lawsuit, the student wins his first case and thus doesn't need to pay based on the original agreement. But if the student wins, he hasn't won his first case yet and still owes the teacher. It's a legal twist that baffles even seasoned thinkers. Dive into the LA paradox, a challenge to traditional economic theories of rational choice. When presented with a choice between a high probability of a moderate win and a lower probability of a large win, people's choices often contradict expected utility theory. This paradox shows that human decision-making can sometimes defy logical models, especially under uncertainty. Lastly, let's examine the paradox of fiction. How can people feel genuine emotions like fear or sadness for fictional characters and events that they know don't really exist? This paradox questions the nature of our emotional responses and how we can be moved by things we know are not real.